people are getting the design side of things. Obviously at Quelfire we're doing a lot of work with design teams and things from a technical point of view, but I think what's missing is the build element. Yes, you can design then build, but what I would say is it's all very well designing it correctly, but then if that then doesn't filter down to the build phase, the build element never changes from what they did 10 years ago. You're no further on. And yes, I understand there's practical challenges potentially on sites and things come up during the process, but I think just that attitude needs to change from it being an inconvenience to actually being the correct way to be doing it, and making sure that's implemented. It would probably be more the solutions that interest me. Yeah, it's very minute things that are permitted, like spacings and things. I just like how what's the right word to use, the consistency of the test evidence that Quelfire have got permitting 0mm spacings, things like that. I just find quite interesting and quite impressive and I guess it links into the design and then build and all that side of things. If you can get it designed right, you can actually, it's really satisfying to just have, for example, a builder's work opening that's designed to permit very tight space constraints, but just the satisfaction of knowing that it's all based on tested solutions. Obviously the rule in the standard, getting into it a bit technically, but the rule in the standard is minimum 100mm between seals around surfaces tested to the same standard, which if you can imagine you've got a builder's work opening with multiple different surfaces in, if you had to follow that 100mm rule, your builder's works would be massive. You'd be losing all sorts of rooms and floors on sites to accommodate it. So the testing Quelfire I've got with 0mm spacing, 50mm spacing, it's just really nice to be able to help someone design a builder's working connection in accordance with those and just have it nice and compact and neat, but still know that it's actually correct and tested and a compliant solution. The beauty of Quelfire's product range is that it's so simple. So there's nothing complex or clever, if you like. Obviously the basic principle of intumescent is interesting from a scientific perspective, the way it works, but obviously for anyone who's been in the industry, it's sort of taken for granted that intumescent is what it is, and that's not exactly something that's unique to Quelfire. If you're in the industry, you know what it is, you know what it does, but essentially, very basically, intumescent is a graphite-based material that reacts when it's exposed to heat, expanding in size, decreasing in density, so it gets less dense. But basically in, for example, a fire collar, it has the metal shell around the outside, then it has a layer of intumescent within it. The plastic pipe going through is going to melt in a fire. That intumescent basically, once the heat reaches a certain point, it's not necessarily a prescribed point, but it's just a simultaneous reaction when the heat gets to a point where it starts melting the pipe. It's also hot enough to activate the intumescent, and that intumescent basically just expands, swelling up, and eventually fully fills the inside of that metal shell.